Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, you're always wanting to fish against the best anglers in the world. I mean, I feel like there's some of the best anglers in the world in the selects. I feel like there's some of the best, obviously, in the cup. So it allows those guys that are the cream of the crop to come up here and compete against the other guys. So like obviously the Van Dams, the Edwin Evers, the Skeet Reeses, the guys that consistently have caught them, won classics and won a lot of big tournaments. And so it gives us those opportunities to get up there and fish against those guys.
Was there any other specific angler that you were concerned about in your group today?
This time of year, it's a crapshoot as far as what the fish are going to be doing. So for me, you never worry about one angler. I mean, that's not how you worry. You worry about what the fish are doing and try to focus on that. I mean, of course, you are competing against 9 other anglers out there in an elimination round, but and you can definitely learn something when you hear that score tracker update and you hear somebody caught, so-and-so caught this, so-and-so caught that. There's some of the anglers out here that are very, very versatile and you never know how they're catching them. And there's other anglers you sort of know, like, they're probably doing this, or they're probably doing that. So, but for the most part, I wasn't worried about any other angler. I just knew I had to make the top 4, and that's really what it comes down to. Obviously, it was nice to win, but the top 4 gets you where you need to be.
Focus on the game.
You caught a 6-pound bass. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, it was something that it was pretty crazy. I'd been catching them flipping a little punch-out crawl in those matted vegetation and flipping around those places with the 1.5 ounce weight. And the key with that fish was I was actually running in between a couple mats, actually running on plane, excuse me. And I just seen something. I had that feeling that I needed to stop. I had that feeling I needed to stop. I seen some grass that was a little bit more sparse. There was a lot of these flats that were very choked out. Grass going all the way out to 10 feet of water, all the way to the top. It didn't give us any room for this bass to set up and ambush any shot. So I seen this flat with some ditches in it, and stop on that place, start running down that flat that has those little ditches, throw in that top water, and just biggest explosion ever. Just like I thought it was a 10-pounder. I swear to you, right? I mean, I thought for sure if you would have bet me at that point in time when that fish blew up, if that fish was under 8, I would have been like, I'd have bet $1,000 on it right there. But comes up, never really actually comes up and jumps. I see it by the boat, and I thought, it's a 5 or 6 pounder, get him in the boat, and obviously, big fish of the day. But to have that fish, number one, having the big fish of the day, but also catching it on top water, I mean, hey, it's just like, when you're a little kid at the little pond, throwing a little skitter pop or something and catching them. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
With fishing here in Eufala, you didn't worry that it might be an alligator or something like that you might have caught instead?
I swear to you, if they have that on film, you'll be like, it must be an alligator. I swear, it looked like you dropped a cinder block from 10 stories up into the water, and I was like, oh, uh-oh.
Well, winning today qualifies you for the sudden death round, obviously. Will anything you learned today out on the water give you confidence going into the next round, or were there any kind of patterns or other things that you discovered over the course of your fishing today that you're going to take into that next round?
Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no. Definitely some confidence. I mean, this is the time of year that I feel like I've done my best. Like, tough fishing. I mean, it's sort of what I grew up doing up in Indiana, just junk fishing at its finest. And, the thing about Major League Fishing, we don't know where we're going to go. Obviously, today we were on the lower end of Lake Eufala. Tomorrow we could be at some private lake over here, some little lake there that we'd never heard of. So the one thing I've noticed with the guys that do really well, they never get locked into one pattern. And that's something that I've tried as I've played this game. I've tried to perfect to not get tunnel vision and locking into one thing. Oh, I need to be throwing top water all day. Oh, I need to be flipping all day. Oh, I need to be doing this. Oh, I need to be doing that. And that allows you to be more versatile. And that way, when that pattern ends up, burning out, where it's not as good, and say second period, you can transition, and it's a lot easier to transition. So, definitely some confidence. But as far as patterns, I'm definitely going to leave that one open.
So what was your best bait? And you talked about pattern, and did you have a pattern? Or are you just running and gunning?
For me, it was really my hands down, my best bait was flipping matted vegetation with an 1.5 ounce weight with a punch screw with a little punch out crawl. And what that was doing, I was actually cutting a spear off the crawl to make it a little bit smaller profile. That was something that was really important because I felt like a lot of the shad were about that 3 inches or about 3.5 inches long. And I wanted to shorten it up, but I wanted to still have a compact little punch bait that I could get through there. It had a little bit of silver, black, blue, and silver flake. So if the sun, a lot of that water I was flipping was really clear, even though it was in a mat, if that sun peeked through, they see that silver flake, it looks like a shad. And it's just something that really caught a lot of those fish. I mean, it really got my momentum going where then I could throw a top water a little bit here and there. And those fish were random, but I found an actual group of fish on a little side of a point that I caught multiple fish off the same place.
Did you see anything change about the conditions from what you were seeing when you first did your 15-minute run through in the morning through into that third period?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, every period it was changing, constantly changing. Obviously, when the sun comes up, you have a bite window there that some fish that you can catch that aren't going to be there all day. And they're just morning fish, and that's who they are. That's what they are. And there's other areas that get better throughout the day. So I've seen that, like when the wind blew and wind changed directions, and first period it was cold, obviously a little cooler in the mornings. They were a little more lethargic, but it put them in those mats a lot better. There was a little bit of wind, but not too much. Second period, first part of it was really pretty calm. Then that wind started to pick up, and that's when I started throwing that top water where I could break up the surface. Caught a few fish, caught that big one, that 6'4". And then going into the third, it blew a little bit. That wind was blowing a little bit. It was still sunny all day, but that wind was the key. Wind was the key, and that wind shut down that last period, and it made slick calm for a lot of us. And that's what was so tough about that final period.